Good evening, friends. Welcome. It's a Monday night. It's time to stream some little toy soldier painting. I hope you're all very enthusiastic about it. We are continuing our work on this little piece, which is called Alone. It's from the upcoming Kickstarter by Mindworks Games. So for this piece, we've tried to draw inspiration from the original artwork. We don't want it to be a direct replica of the original artwork. We instead just want it to evoke similar feelings. So it's a very warm orange vibe. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. Yes, we wanted to evoke the same feelings as the original piece without necessarily trying to be a one-for-one copy. So, and that's one of the things that I like about this tradition or direction that miniature art seems to be going in, which is the taking of fantasy art and creating it into miniature. You get to have something to inspire you, but not necessarily feel beholden to. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. So I did a fair bit of work yesterday on the base. Reached a point where the base is probably finished, mostly finished, so I'll show that off a little bit later on because we'll need to get some feelings from this guy attached to the base. It's always good to have everything linked before you start making final decisions about paint jobs and so on. again, for those that are here for the first time, my approach is very much a high, heavily contrasted approach where we want to create a lot of visual noise, a lot of visual information. We over contrast and then we bring things back down with both airbrushes or with glazes with colours such as a contrast paint. One thing I've been mulling over, yes, it does. One thing I've been mulling over recently is when I use this black cardboard, it tends to really blow my exposure to hell. So I struggle to get the camera to accurately showcase the work that I'm doing. It either tends to be a little bit too light, a little bit too dark. This is one of my favourite ways to paint red, friends. Red can be extremely difficult to get right. You're about to see my favourite method. And shock horror, it involves an airbrush. Here's our base. G'day, Case. Here's our base. Not finished, we've still got to paint the leaves, and we'll probably just add some tweaking of little various areas. You can also see a spot here where the super glue has reacted with the paint that I sprayed on it while the super glue was still drying. Pro tip, don't be like me. Wait for your super glue to dry before spraying it like a fucking lunatic. This stuff's great. It's called Panzer Putty. I don't know if it has other names. If that's just, I think that's just the name of the product that I use. I'm sure there is other versions of this product that you can get. 10 out of 10 recommend this product for every airbrushing purpose. I used Blue Tack for a long time. Blue Tack was my go-to. One time I'd done some really nice work with some small layers of paint And the blue tack peeled some of the paint off and absolutely ruined all the work that I'd done. So I found that quite challenging. This stuff has a very low tack. It does not leave, it doesn't adhere so firmly that it can't be removed. So it's a fantastic product. It's got a real weird consistency too, a lot of fun to play with. Alright, we're going to use a couple of layers of contrast paint. First one we're going to use is Blood Angels Red. And then we'll use some darker red. This one's called Flesh Tearers Red. This one's a very, very strong colour. You have to be very, very careful with it, or it will overpower everything that you've done. Alright, and now I'm going to take all this off. Come on. Come down. Now, g'day Sean. Now I'm just going to dilute this colour quite a bit. And just going to catch a little bit of overspray here onto the fabric and the skin. Alright, that'll do for that. It's going well, mate. Yes, just painting, as always. Got two cool Kickstarter models. This one and then the other one which I prepared today. So, nature doesn't see a lot of red, right? There's not a lot of red in nature. So red does tend to stand out. So it's a good little tool that you can use as a focal point, is using a lot of red. So this guy is our focal point on this piece, and so all of the stuff that is around him has tones of green. But he is red tones, oranges, which will force him to stand out. As we zoom closer into him, the surrounding areas start to have more warm, more oranges. I'll zoom in on him right now. And that's one of the reasons why we're using green in shadows of things, because it's a complementary colour to red. So it creates a very strong colour contrast between the two. However, if you do too much green and red, it'll make your stuff look like Christmas. So you've got to consider what green and what red you're going to use. One of the reasons why I highlight a red cloak with a colour called pistachio, which is basically like a very bright lime green, is it is a contrast of colour as well as a contrast of value. Light green and dark red. All right. Hello there, Chum Dabs. Welcome, mate. He's back with a vengeance, the Chum Dabs. Coming in hot and heavy. That summarises you in a nutshell, mate. Yes. So we should probably get pretty close to finishing this piece. Oh, get off him. Should probably get pretty close to finishing this piece today. This is most definitely not a box art, my friend. This is just me getting a cool opportunity to paint a model. This is a raising awareness of the Kickstarter type dealio. For box arts, they get people that are actually good. When they want to get promotion, they go with someone who's popular. Wonder if Dave got one. Then they get both. Yeah, that's pretty much the game, my friend. Am I in town for board games this week? TBD, my friend. TBD. Okay, so the one you saw painted today in red was actually by the guy behind Mindwork Games, Matteo Di Diomede. Wonderful painter. Very, very nice man. Yeah, his version of the red horse has basically inspired me to do something completely different. Yeah, tomorrow night hopefully will be good for games. Well, at this stage, it will be. So, that's good. Not sure what we're playing. I've been playing Hoplomachus, which is the Gladiator board game. And then as a result of that, I've been getting into Spartacus Blood and Sand again. Great stuff. I forgot how just out there it was, the language in that show. Like, they got Lucy Lawless to just fucking start saying stuff like, "By Jupiter's cock!" That's fucking outstanding. Oh, Lucy Lawless. Goddess. We're all blessed to live in an era with Lucy Lawless. No, the big chicken is behind me. You can see just behind my head. He's right there. I did some gut filling on him today, so we'll be good to go with him at some point. So, if you've been a regular follower of the stream, you would know that the big dioramas are my go-to. I try to always have a couple planned at any one time, and I've got a big one planned for the next few months, and so my timeline of events tends to be paint whatever I'm excited about, And so right now I'm excited about painting these two Kickstarter models because it's super cool that I got given them. I would very much like to paint that Kingdom Death model. However, it is for a yet to be released expansion, and so I won't be able to play with it for some time. So it doesn't need to be painted with any pressing urgency. Don't need it for any campaigns or anything. So yeah, so it'll probably just get shelved a little bit for the moment. However, colours I can answer because it's from the Abyssal Woods, and so all of the Abyssal Woods monsters that I've painted have been painted in greens and golds, and so that will be the colours that that guy is also painted in, greens and golds. Might add some bronze, as he's got quite a few metallic areas. We'll have some other elements as well. Haha, Jimmy D. I'm glad, mate. A lot of great artists out there, my friend. I think very early on in the journey, learning about them. It's a very important part of the process. Then emulate them. G'day, Timbo. Until eventually we can stand on our own two legs. Okay, let's go. I utilised a lot of techniques on my Neon Knights diorama, which many of you have seen. If you haven't seen, I'm happy to show you a video of it. Just let me know. But one of the things that I was trialing for the first time on that diorama was the rust effect by Dirty Down. It's not a thing that you probably would associate with display painting as a general rule. I would not have thought, but I feel like there's some elements to it that we can control that maybe we can use. So I actually used it on my base that I just painted for this chap, and I'm about to use some on this, on a couple of these elements. And then we'll see. Then we'll see about putting him on the base and having to think about what we need to adjust. 7:30 for the boys looks good, Bucks. Always for the boys, mate. Ooh, mixing it with thinners might be interesting. I haven't tried that. So Mineworks are responsible for some absolutely glorious figures, and then some that are questionable. I think they have very recently stepped up their game. They haven't had many misses in my books recently. But as you know, I'm a sucker for fantasy art, so I've also got their Oz diorama over there. I'm also a sucker for Wizard of Oz. I don't know if I've talked about that enough on here. The Wizard of Oz, I watched that movie about 50 times when I was a kid. And that is not an exaggeration. I love The Wizard of Oz. It's right up there for me. So, anytime there's a... And I did a few years ago, did a very cool diorama themed on The Wizard of Oz. And then Mineworks released another very cool stylized version of Wizard of Oz, which I have sitting over there ready to paint when the mood strikes. Jared Clifford did a version of it, and his version was not very good. And I've told him so. Nah, it's good. His is good. It's definitely, you can notice a difference now when you have a look at his work. Now versus that piece, you know, he's come quite a long way. Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. I pulled it out and had a look at it on stream, I think, about a year and a two ago when I bought it, so couldn't tell you what episode that was. Can't even tell you if that actually happened or not. But I do have it sitting up there, so maybe I'll grab it down for you to have a look at. Don't trust Timbo. Absolute spud. Yeah, use contrast, use normal paints. Depends on what I'm feeling at the time. You can use all of those things. Volupus Pink generally always gets a recommendation from me as a contrast paint that is very, very good. snakebite leather, depending on what type of skin tone I want. Even just Gilliman flesh tone can be good. I have seen the new Paul Bonner one, yeah. I love Paul Bonner. Haven't painted any pieces done by him. He's actually had quite a few sculpts done. Journeyman Miniatures have done quite a few Paul Bonner sculpts. Even Rackham very early on. Well, Rackham figures were based on Paul Bonner artwork, so. Yeah. Don't they just? Yeah, Griff Charger Grey is very, very good. Alright, let's have a little bow peep at this guy on the base so we can see how things look. Alright, well the first thing that feels evident is that the skin and the rocks are just a little bit too similar. So we do one of two things. We reduce the rocks or we increase the skin. We're going to increase the skin. Intentionally, mate, intentionally. We want it to feel like it's one scene, one piece. Yeah, I think we'll increase the skin. Maximum skin overload. It's going to be cautious on how we do that. Let's see if we can find the right colour. My face is going missing, but that's okay. Because we're going to have some great people joining us very soon. Okay, think, Dano, what colour do we want to take the skin to? We want some oranges, we want some warm colours. There's light flesh. Did I get rid of my highlight skin? I think I did, you know. The paints. So, I have talked about this before. I am not a heavy body acrylic guy. I have used some heavy body acrylics at some stages. I feel like they are good if you are a heavy body acrylic person, which I am not. So they are good, is the answer to your question. However, they are not for me. But we're going to use one right now because you just asked that question. Heavy body user as a stereotype. Someone who actually understands how to paint. Casey will back me up here. I'm a very lazy painter, right? So the way that I paint, I want colours that are already ready to go. You know, easy for me to use. Yeah, just ready to go basically. And heavy body acrylics require you to just maybe spend a little bit more time tweaking everything, and that definitely does not align with my approach to painting. So that's the first characteristic. I won't say it's a weakness because it's by design, right? Yeah. There's absolutely a version of those that I would use, or that I do use, which is like the Chimera paints. So Chimera paints are very much in the same vein as heavy body, sort of pure pigments, you know, require mixing, but again, they've even added colours that are ready to go for painters like me. Indeed, yeah, Chimera do great stuff. You know, predominantly I use AK, I use Chimera, I use Citadel scale paints, so I don't really have a brand preference as such. Just a lot of colours that I like, so I do think we tend to put too much on the paint, attribute too much to the paints and the colours rather than the artists necessarily. You know, there's a lot of fantastic artists out there who can make just about anything look good. I reckon if you gave one of the greats a set of watercolours, sure they could churn out something magnificent. Yeah, Sunny Skin Tone is probably the GOAT. Probably the GOAT. Ice Yellow, also good. I'll show off the base I made for the horsey guy today in a little bit. A little bit of airbrushing over this will smooth it all out. Bob's your uncle. How good's that going to look? Well, I do actually have an uncle named Robert, you know. It is awful quiet in here, Timbo. Why don't you tell us a joke? It is almost time for saturation generation, mate. Don't worry. The crew will be here any moment. Buck's always good for a strong opinion. Ready to fire up. Your painting's a fucking joke, mate. Oh goodness me, that was too much. I'm sorry. Hello, Jared. Just much too good. Much too good. Alright, I should stop. I'm always ready, Bucks. No, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting this. This big rig, mid rig talk. There's only one big rig in town, mate. Oh no. Something to further the fuel of my celebrity. T-shirts made about me. However will I cope? Biggest rig. I think I told you Emma's been giving me an absolute bake about it, actually. She seems to think it's funny. Biggest rigus. Good. Monty Python. Incontinentia buttocks. These two pests. Put on Bucks's face. Put on Jared's face. Turn off pallet cam. I think we all would, Timbo. I think we all would, but beggars can't be choosers, mate.
And just like that, it's another Monday. Get a dog up, ya.
Hello there, Andrew. Hello there, Jared.
Evening.
What's happening, friends?
You see that, Big Rig? The viewers just spiked instantly. Get the book out, Deno. Get it out.
It's because both of your respective partners just tuned in. That's all. So they can watch both of you.
Maybe all three of our respective partners just tuned in.
Jared's gone the wrong way with the camera. Other way, Chad.
Yeah. Other way, guys.
Good one, mid-rig.
Oh, look at this. The Battle of the Rigs is on.
A rig off.
The Rig Off. Welcome to Monday night, The Rig Off. The Rigging.
What's been happening this weekend for you two, friends?
This weekend, just Mother's Day, so a quieter weekend. A weekend of rest. Another one after, for me anyway, after coming down a bit crook all last week. I was pretty much sick every single day, so I think I was sick on the stream as well, actually, from memory. So, how about you, Jared? How was your week?
Not too bad. We did Mother's Day stuff on the Saturday because Carly just didn't want to do anything on the Sunday, so that suited us.
Love it, man. Be the master of your own destiny, right?
Yeah, that's
Make
it.
Work for you.
But we're laughing how usually Mother's Day / Father's Day just consists of a breakfast in the morning, and then it's just normal the rest of the day. Nothing exciting. That's about it.
Craig's Dog is recommending a bodybuilding show at the Guild's Inn to determine who has the big rig and who has the mid rig.
Look, that's probably a better way to decide it than some of the other ways that would probably be brought to the table.
I'm here for it, mate.
No, I knew you would. I like. Which are you here for? The other ways or the bodybuilding?
Whatever way, I'm here for it, mate. Just sign me up.
Sign him up. Absolutely.
Oh dear. What about yourself, Dino? A good weekend?
Yeah, no, very good. Went and saw my mum on Sunday. Spent time with my niece and nephews. Was wonderfully reminded of my decision not to have children and the greatness that has ensued in my life as a result of that. So, yeah, good day.
Look, I'm never one to chop up your painting too much, Deno, but I'm just going to have to call this out on site.
Yep.
What is going on with these nipples?
Can you just relax, mate? Can you just relax? Like, it's a work in progress, mate.
He's got, because of the shape of the body, and you've got no eyes in on his face yet. Have a look at it. My mind works are solid right now.
You are absolutely cooked, mate. You are done. You're banned.
I'm kicked. I've got him rattled. He's got it and changed it already. He's got to get us banned from Twitch. Don't worry about showing Alicia's out here.
Oh dear.
Breaking rig nipples, chum dub. You're on it. No, I'm just staring, Trent. You don't have to.
You are cooked.
Yeah, I'm just staring.
Did Mick Back get banned from Twitch? Did he? I I didn't hear about
He
that.
did. He did. No, he got reinstated, but he got banned back in the day for showing an Alicia. No, Witchhorn.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mm.
Did I paint one of those on stream? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, you did. Definitely did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Just not famous enough, Migback.
Doesn't have the pull. Doesn't have the rub. Doesn't have the home field whistle. You know who else? Speaking of home field whistles, didn't have that. You know, for all our sports fans that do tune in, and I know you're out there because you messaged both Deno and I, so there's definitely an audience. Whether the crowd likes it or not, there's an audience for basketball talk. So we're going to just do a little drive-by to keep everyone updated. The beloved Timberwolves, they went on to win their second game in the series after we caught up last Monday and took a 2-0 lead. Only 5 teams have ever come back from a 2-0 lead on the road. And it looks like the Denver Nuggets are going to potentially be the 6th because they came into the beloved Timberwolves house, the Target Center, and they put an absolute hiding on us back-to-back. So shout out to any Nugs fans.
Is it 2-all? Is it 2-all?
Yeah, it's 2-all. Shout out to any Nugs fans who are enjoying their revelry right now and evening out the series and taking home court advantage back. We're on one. We've got a series.
Bucks. So Bucks, have you ever heard of an expression, the mockers? Have you ever heard of the mockers, mate? Yeah.
Is the mockers like the yips?
Yep. Someone on this stream may or may not have talked up their chances and put the mockers on them, mate. So
No, look, listen. One thing you never do is doubt the heart of a champion, and the Denver Nuggets have got it. It's their time. What we're trying to do right now, we're trying to leap the queue. You know, we're trying with our 22-year-old to jump ahead of his time, and that's, you know, I don't think anyone's been able to do. Maybe the only person to do that in my lifetime that I know of is Dwayne Wade. He won a championship in his second year. But
so what I'm hearing is very early excuses. Are you hearing that, Jared?
No. Listen.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
exit clause there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen up, right? The series is even, and if you had have said before the series start 2-2 after game 4, most people would go, that's a pretty good result for the Timberwolves. That would look like, in most people's perspective of basketball, that both teams won their home court games. The freakish nature of this game is that neither team has won their home court games. They've both lost their home court games. So, look,
That's interesting.
it's a fascinating series. I mean, Craig Zogg's a big ball guy. He knows the game. I think he'll jump in and back me up here when I say this is probably the series to watch. This is probably the NBA final before it happened. I still back my Wolves. I still say Wolves in 7. But if you're a gambling man, I think you would probably take Denver in 7. And if you want some hot tips, Denver is going to get the next game as well. Wolves are going to get game 6. And if you want a bit of sauce from Bucks, my prediction rate's pretty high. I was 2 points off predicting the game outcome today. So my strike rate's pretty good. If you want to make some money, go for it.
Well,
This was
looks
an
like you've
advertisement for a sports bet.
yeah. I was going to say, it looks like you've lost Nat. She came for the painting. You've lost her at sports.
Painting is a sport, Matt. And
Oh, good response.
I'm lightning quick. I'm 6, Matt. I am 6, maybe 7 T's in. We're gonna what's coming out of. I am mercurial right now.
Mercurial. What a
Loves that
word. What a word. It's one of my favourites.
I think we just sit back and let Andy talk. You know, just see what comes out.
Yeah, let's let the magic happen, hey?
Look, I've wrote some bullet pointers actually for conversations tonight. So, the 4 bullet points that I've got in right now, because this is an on-brand stream, so have a bit of a conversation about some art books, because I know you've been dabbling in that space a bit, Deno, lately since you visit down here.
I have.
You're having a wonderful little. You sort of opened up a bit of a conversation about paints and brands. That's always a great chat. Probably should talk about branded Kickstarters like this one, and then maybe have a bit of a conversation about influences in miniature painting. What do you guys think?
Wow, Bucks, you've just come in hot and heavy, mate.
I wrote those literally the 30 seconds before we came in. Someone drug test him. Drug test this man.
Hot and fresh out the
He's on
kitchen.
one.
Mama
Call me Aaron
Rose.
Gordon. I'm shooting 11 of 12 shots right now.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, no. Look, which one would you like to talk about first, Bucks? Because I like all those topics, but in particular, I like the one about art books, and then leading into branded Kickstarters. What do you think about? What do you think about that approach?
I think that sounds great. So let's talk about some art books. That was something that you so when you came down to visit, you were you've been here a few times and you know your way around the place, but the little art book section that piqued your interest this time you were down.
It did, yes, mate. Yeah, so much so that I went and bought some art books. This one's one that's been sitting on my dining table. No, thingy table. What's that thing?
Your gaming table?
No, the other one, just the one sitting in front of the thing. What's the table that sits? Your coffee table. Thank you. Thanks, Nat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Timbo.
Your mother table. He doesn't drink coffee, do you?
No. So that's a cool Star Wars. So this one just goes through a lot of the most well-known artists in the
fantasy space,
including
it's
the great
all fantasy, right? Even science fiction comes under the fantasy.
Yeah, the great Frank Frazetta has a notable section, which we're looking at now. Very, very cool. And then my personal favourite, the great man himself, Boris Vallejo.
Yeah.
Has a huge
couple
section.
Of Titans, couple of OGs.
Yeah, this guy is just one of the all-timers, but like his command of the human form is beyond anyone else. I know it's a bold statement, but yeah, he's incredible.
We like hot takes and we like strong statements.
Look at that!
Right?
Look at that! Get some of that up here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, peak muscle right now, and we, a reputation has preceded me about having muscly figures on the palette, on the table, on the painting desk, and I mean, I think Trent, you've actually got away with it for a while, but you're a pretty big fan of the muscle dogs as well, aren't you?
Yeah, love some muscles. See you, chum dubs. Yeah, love muscles. Muscles, soft feminine forms. I love them all, mate. Sign me up for anything. I'll paint
I don't
anything.
think I've seen a lot of naked bodies in miniature painting yet. Any jacked?
No,
Eats?
I'm a conservative on that front. Understand. Yeah, I'm just looking at models now, and I don't think I've got any. Oh, He-Man. That was the only one.
He-Man.
All the rest are covered in
He-Man.
bones or something of metal armor.
I think it always poses a they pose such an interesting challenge when you're doing like predominantly skin-based models. I mean, skin is a challenge. I mean, you can probably have a fantastic debate. We could probably do a whole stream just on where the complexity of skin versus painting white and metallics. Like, those two would probably be the two most complex elements of mixed painting, I think. Battling on either side of which one is more complex is probably a good time. I think we should line up on either side and have a good raz. So. Kiki's come to join. Kiki's Miniature Mania.
G'day, Kikis.
Roll the tape, please, Trent. Roll the tape.
Which tape would that be, mate? You're talking about the Wonderful Camelot or the Neon Knights?
I think it's Neon Knights.
Is that the new one? Is that the new one for the fans?
Let's bring out the new one for the people. Tell us about what this is, Trent.
Wonderful diorama that I painted in the last few months. Was winner of the People's Choice Award at the recent Arc Open. Just wonderful project. Great fun.
An exploration of light and sound.
Yeah, just taking miniature art in different directions. Just really revolutionising the game.
A feast for the senses.
Oh, Jared, well put, mate. Well put.
That top layer never gets old.
A veritable cornucopia of things.
Love that. Top side.
Well, I'm glad. Welcome, Kiki.
back to our initial where were we? We were on one about
Fantasy art,
physical
fantasy
form,
art.
fantasy art, and painting muscles. You know, painting light, painting the difference in complexity with skin and painting metallics in different forms.
Like
Do you guys think one is greater or harder than the other?
female forms are significantly harder.
Fair. So the gender based one. What about between painting metallics and painting skin? Two of our more technical aspects of painting.
Depends how you paint it, whether true metallic or non-metal.
Sure. I mean, I think both of them, when they're painted well, both subscribe to the same principles anyway. Balancing shine when you're doing.
I'm still finding skin harder compared to metal. And I just think because there's just so much variant. You can get a lot of variance in both, but for skin, if you get it wrong, it just looks wrong.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the hard thing with skin, and I've been reflecting on this a lot. There's so much like actual contrast in skin that is hard to get right without looking like you've just got weird random lights on there. Whereas with non-metallic metal or metal in general, it reflects light in weird ways. So it's kind of like uncanny valley situation where if you see skin, that's just not quite right. So yeah.
Great timing on that one there. Craig Zog also brought up the uncanny valley nature of when.
Did he? Jeez, I'm good at this fucking streaming gig.
Look at this harmonising between audience and presenter. Fantastic. We're on one. I think I'm probably in the. Well, I think to side one way or the other would probably be a fool's errand, but the thing with non-metal metallic or painting metallics, without metallic paint, I think I had a wonderful conversation with Liam. Liam paints stuff. Do we have Liam's link in the chat for people who don't know Liam? If someone can put that in there for his Instagram. Liam paints some pretty awesome non-metal metallic, and we were sort of discussing like at what point there's levels to non-metal metallic and there's styles as well, and influenced by fantasy art. I think both skin and non-metal metallic is incredibly influenced by fantasy art that we look at. But eventually there comes a time in non-metal metallic where you reach a certain level in it, and then the next journey is reflection and painting in reflection. And I think that's when potentially non-metal metallic then starts to become significantly maybe more complex. I could be wrong there. I've been thinking about this a lot. I have personally resided on that painting skin and faces is truly, a bottomless pit of potential and skill acquisition. But when I think about when you're holding, Kirill's work or something like that, where you can just, it's full on. What do you guys think about that?
Sorry, just clearing the throat. Obviously the metallics, you start off by doing the metallic process, but then it hits another element, like you said, when putting in reflections and then elevating again, actually doing reflections of people or landscape and stuff like that, like Kirill does. I think that's as far as that can go. But with skin, like Nat says something as well. I think we recognise people through looking at their skin and faces and all that sort of stuff. And if something's not right, you don't hit it right. It is something that you can't overcome. But there's just so much. You can paint skin any old way, really, in terms of colours and what's being used. It's sort of open-ended, and there's no real set way of doing it. Like outside of the Games Workshop way of painting skin, which most people get taught.
That early sort of miniature paint. Well, I mean, that particular method, or let's just say like your early learnings in miniature painting, more than ever in that state, it's the indication of, right? Like it's roughly like if we can get the colors in the right place and we can kind of get the shades in the right place, it does its job for its purpose. If its purpose is to put it on the table and play games with it.
Yeah, but if the artwork that Bino was showing in the book, like there's just so much variance. I think metal variance, but not as much as skin. If that makes sense as well.
Sure, sure. I mean, I think, like I said, I think honestly you could go back and forth either way, and we could literally just, like I said, do a whole stream on those two, you know, and comparing them and comparing their complexities, and maybe even taking a completely different path and comparing maybe which one becomes easier first to do. That's one to think about, because I think where you see results in those two spaces is quite interesting. But back to art books. What about like art channels? You know someone who I've been watching lately, who I really enjoy watching. I was actually watching him with Jubs the other night. I was watching Adrian Smith cook, and my God, I just love everything that man makes.
Yep.
He was cooking up some. I was watching him do some gnomes, and I'm just like, the process is super cool. It's not like I think I learned something about myself in watching that process. Is that like, as much as I have a fond appreciation for 2D art, I'm really based in the 3-dimensional. Like that, like I can watch someone's process in 3D, like in miniature painting, and I'm like as snug as a bug. But when it comes to watching the process for drawing or painting canvas, I kind of just want to skip to the end and see the final result. Quite a fascinating thing I learned about myself recently. How do you guys feel about that sort of stuff?
Jared, I'll let you feel that one because I'm probably biased.
Yeah, I need to think on it. You caught me.
All right, I can answer then, Jared. I'll give you some time. The big rig is also the slow rig. Let's be honest.
There's no mucking around with it. I am pretty slow.
Is it locomotion? Is it like once he's got to get going, and then once he gets going,
once I get going, I can't stop.
Yeah.
I love art of any form. I love watching 2-dimensional artists paint. I love watching 3-dimensional artists paint. I love watching 3-dimensional artists sculpt. But there is always an element of I want the result, not the journey. You know, and I think that's part of where a lot of young miniature painters or young aspiring miniature painters go wrong, is they forget that it is very much a journey, right? We've talked about that on many occasions. For us, miniature art is just look at this dude.
That is absolutely Jordan in the chat.
Yeah,
he knew this was going to be too juicy for him to weigh in, to not be able to weigh in on. We've stirred him up.
He's awoken.
Yeah.
No, in answer to your question, I think there's value. There's value in both.
There's value in both. I agree.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Now, I think interestingly, because I've been rolling around these discussions both internally and with you guys, with Benny and with Jordan as well, something I'm learning about myself is I don't actually go to 2D art too frequently for inspiration or direction. Almost all of my like self-teaching elements of miniature painting are based at looking at miniature painters. So I find that quite interesting about myself. Like, you're always learning about yourself, and I think Jordan challenged me to think about things in a way, and so I thought, I'll go away and have a bit of a think.
It's interesting you say that, Andy, because I'm pretty much the same. Like, in terms of references, you know, Benny knows that I barely look at references because I like making life difficult for myself while painting. But I love looking at 3D miniature art. 2D art has its place, but I always draw inspiration from the 3D world. I don't know why that is. I don't know whether it's just more appealing or... in region is. But,
I'm not sure it's a measurable thing in the community, but like it, it's probably 6 one way, half a dozen the other on where people land and reside with this. But I do think it's an element of miniature painting has kind of always been, and this is a hot take, and people go, please, let's get into it if we want, rip me up if you want to. But I do think we have looked externally for answers many times in miniature painting, and I think a lot of the answers are actually in miniature painting itself. That doesn't mean that influences from external can't have huge rippling effects in miniature painting, and I think they should because they challenge the space. So let's not make it one or the other. But yeah, for me, I think that's what I'm going to do. What about you?
What was the question?
He wasn't even listening.
No, I was.
It wasn't so much a question; it's musings, I think.
I draw inspiration from anything. I don't specifically tend towards miniature art. In many situations on this very stream, I've gone and found a piece of artwork that I liked as inspiration for a colour, and then I've proceeded to do that. In other streams, I've just grabbed someone else's miniature art and gone, I'm just going to fucking copy that idea. So there's
so you're like a I think that actually very much suits who you are as a person, and that is I will get what I need to serve my necessity, right? Like to serve myself in its needs, which is like very process driven and super how you, I think, from what I've learned about you, how you think about your painting and painting itself. Like you are just straight up, I'll take what I want and I don't care and I don't think about it too much more than that.
I don't.
Yeah.
We all stand on the shoulders of giants, right? It doesn't matter what art you think you're doing. We learn because of everyone that's been before us. So just because you don't draw specific inspiration from a specific artist doesn't mean that all of the artists that you've been inspired by haven't in turn been inspired by other people. So
of course,
acknowledgement of the past, very important. Doesn't mean that we have to worship it. In fact, if we look at the greatest artists of all time, both miniature art otherwise, it's often the ones that were doing things differently that made it successful. So
I can't tell what the word is that Jordan used. He said 4,000. What is it? 42,000 years of
painting history.
But you guys have been at this for 40 years and are completely outside of that. Something bucks.
I think he's having a go at you, mate.
Yeah.
He might well be. But
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that when I say I don't look at references, it's not because I don't want to. It's just because I get lost in my idea and then try and execute it, and I need to start looking at references to see how stuff's done, and actually having a lesson with Jordan in portrait painting and applying that to face, it sort of opened my eyes a bit more and had reinforced learnings I had with a couple artists last year in the miniature world. So yeah, it's all interconnected. Like, it'd be stupid to think it's not.
Again, I don't think that's what we're doing here. Like, I really want to avoid skirting the line of it's one way or the other, and they don't harmonize with each other at times. But I'm more, and Jordan and I have sort of discussed this as well. Like, miniature painting has kind of, for a good chunk of it, actually kind of been isolated to itself, right? Like, it is its own thing to a degree. Like, how many people have come to miniature art through I love art. I went to art school and I chose miniature art as my medium. Like, let's be realistic about that. How many people do you think that is?
0.
Yeah.
But Craft World actually is the they actually do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 0, obviously. There's probably, hundreds, but in a pool of thousands, So.
let's move into, because this topic's too
Sure.
big, Bucks, and you're already frothing it too hard. So
No. We can move on. It's just that one sort of slipped into it nicely, and it's a good little prod at it. Another topic that we can cook on in future. Art books opens up a super interesting discussion, and then we've kind of already talked a little bit about influences and where they come from. Paints, man. That conversation about paints is always a good one, and it's one that crops up. It just seems to keep cropping up and cropping up and cropping up. Flipping over from some philosophy into some hardware. Which paints are best? Why are they good? You said something, and I always love to reinforce it. And I think it's really as simple as there are many great paint brands. In fact, all paint brands usually have good paints in them.
except Army Painter.
Well, I think even their new ones have had some positive feedback now, right? So, but yeah, it's always going to be less about the paint itself and more about the capacity.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm just looking at my paint collection. Like, there's just so many different paints, and there's even more coming out on the market. But some people just use the what brand are they? Like the canvas artist paints.
Golden, or one of those.
Yeah, well, those type of paints. But I don't know. Like, there's such a diverse range of colours and quality and all that sort of stuff. But it's hard to. You don't want to bash any brand, that's for sure.
I do.
You do? All right. I'll let you bash away.
It's your stream too.
Army Painter, mate. Army Painter rubbish. No, look, it's fine to have opinions about things, Jared. Too often when you're in a position like on a stream, people feel like they can't have an opinion. So it's okay to say that you don't like things, right? That doesn't mean you're exempt from repercussions for saying that, but have an opinion, mate. Get it.
That's true.
Get amongst it.
But conversely, right? I could say that I've heard every single opinion about, like, I have heard a negative opinion about every single paint brand there is, right? I've heard people publicly go, "Yep, Chimera's not it. Games Workshop's not it. Army Painter's not it." I've heard people go, "AK, Vallejo." Like, more often than not, I think we just need to spend more time with the tool to learn how best to use it.
Agreed. So, to go back to art inspiring miniature, and this Kickstarter and other Kickstarters like it, how do you feel about it, Bucks? You're an opinion based man.
About this Kickstarter,
just in general.
Like, it's clearly a flavour and it's in demand. So, it'd be a fool's error not to acknowledge that, and that's it. Like, these are all businesses. I think they're driven by both wanting to make a product they feel passionate about, while simultaneously wanting to run a business. So, some of them I enjoy. In fact, more often than not, I like one or two of the models in the Kickstarter, and some others I don't. And I don't think that's probably normal for most people. Jared, are you in the same camp on that one, or do you have a different opinion?
There's some really great models that on Mindworks Discord they've been posting. There's one with I think it's an elf archer. I just love the structure of it, and then seeing it in Brom's artwork, it's absolutely fantastic. But just seeing what Dino's doing here, recreating the painting, it definitely makes me want to give it a go. Just look at the reference and try and replicate it in miniature form. An interesting challenge, I think.
It is an interesting challenge. It creates, and it also creates a way for you to think about painting differently, which is often one of the best exercises you can do, is challenging yourself to think about things in a different way. Go Bucks.
Sorry, go. Well, because this leads into another conversation, and it's another topic that's floated around, and it's probably infinitely as deep as the ones we've already covered, and so we might have to cut this one short too. But like when we create these miniatures, when the community drives this and wants these miniatures, there is an encouragement in a way to want to replicate the two-dimensional artwork in both sculpt and in painting, right?
Can be, can be.
Yeah, and that's
no different to a box art inspiring a piece of miniature art, or Games Workshop figures coming with their own colour artwork that most people follow. Doesn't mean that that there's not other ways to interpret it. But yeah,
absolutely. I think you actually see it quite regularly in the box arts, right? You'll see one that's done with the conceptual, concept art, the original piece of art, and then there's usually an alternate box art done with a more sort of, explorative. Yeah, I don't know where I fully sit on it. It's like I'm not backed a lot of Kickstarters that are in this style, but not out of like a protest or anything like that. Just haven't.
I regret missing a couple, like the Patrick J. Jones one. There was quite a few in there that I was really keen on, and I didn't get in on those. So I regret that. As I said, I think there's value for everyone in learning how to paint in a different style to your own. And these give you a pretty much a ready-made way of doing that in the same way as box arts do, but you've probably got more reference material than a box art to go off, and it's also probably going to challenge you in a very different way. So I dig it a lot.
I was going to ask with Mindworks, because this isn't the first time they've replicated miniatures from other artworks.
Yep.
What were the other ones?
Have they done 3?
So they've done one for Brom already.
Yeah.
They've done a couple of Brom pieces already, and then they did one for a Patrick J. Jones, who was an artist.
They've done some Frazetta ones as well, right?
And they have done a few individual Frazetta pieces, including the Death Dealer now. That one, I think they still have limited copies actually that you can purchase. So, it's fucking massive. Topulus was painting one, so very, very big.
That's a super good question, Timbo. Like, I mean, it's not something I have zero knowledge on, so I'm not going to speak on it. But it'd be interesting to see if there are licensing elements. I mean, we're seeing it, like, it's popping up. I mean, we've obviously recently some of Adrian Smith's artwork's also been transformed into miniature form. Who else is doing stuff? Hera has been doing stuff with Trudvang, like, so it's undeniable, right?
Actually, it's pretty funny. Tagging on my microphone cord, sorry. Jordan just said something about a design coming from 2D art, which is, Benny, Andy and I were talking about, and Timbo were talking about it the other night. A lot of ideas have come from John Blanche's artwork over the years. Necromunda, or the Black Templars 3rd edition codex that stands out. There's just... and
see you much, Fixer.
They're replicating the ideas from artwork which was produced 20, 30 years ago, with some models coming out now.
Do we go back further? Can you go back further and find inspiration through text though, as well, through books and stories? Is that another?
There's so many different mediums.
Another tangent.
Mate, we stand on the shoulders of giants. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
There's very, very few innovative and original thoughts in our world that exists today. It's a fallacy to try and say that there is almost anything that is original.
So in speaking that, Do you think there is a culture based around hiding your? This is a fiery question, and someone's got to ask it. Do you think there is a culture around hiding your influences, particularly with how sorted for it might be to have a unique and original idea, particularly in a young space like miniature painting?
Yeah, it's absolutely something that we do is hide our inspirations because we want to be seen as innovating and doing things that no one's done before. But I think you and I have actually probably exemplified something contrary of that, where we've actually just drawn inspiration from specific artwork and acknowledged that and said, hey, I was inspired by this piece and I just did a tribute to it. So
Yeah. I mean, and that's sort of leaning on that is like, yeah, like I don't really hide from that. It's fascinating, because I think it's all done for the most part, or I want to believe it's all done in the um, under the guise of learning and wanting to learn and how to become better. And and I think only now are we really starting to see a push into education in miniature painting. Um, this is a conversation we were dabbling around today. Myself, Jared, Timbo, and Ben. Um, you know, it does. I think. I mean, and I obviously don't know everything, all things about miniatures. I'm not going to pretend I do. But it does seem like for a while we kind of like through the early 2000s, late 90s, like there, how many people were out there actually teaching miniature painting, like and empowering the future miniature painters with their skills. Like obviously the internet wasn't as strong back then, so that was off the table. So it's probably going to be much more personal teaching. Um, I think that's a fascinating element to it. I think the education of painting is a big part of influences, and a big part of like the self-teaching nature of miniature art. I only realistically think that teaching miniature painting is only really scratched the surface in the last probably 7 years.
Yeah, I would say last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like you look
Yeah,
at,
ten's probably right. Sorry, ten's probably.
yeah,
No,
like you look at the journey we've had in entering display painting for the past 4 years. It's definitely more teachings and workshops around now than there was like when I first started playing Warhammer back 30 years,
yeah.
about 27, 28 years now. There were tutorials in White Dwarf, but then outside of that, nothing really there. But like you look in Spain, there's painting academies. You got artists that run workshops, weekend workshops, traveling around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting more and more uh, popular. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, more saturated. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's no different to what's being done for probably centuries, like Jordan had pointed out, for 42,000 years. It's got to have come from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
just teaching different techniques.
That's a great question, COVID Madness, and probably a great, like, we can jump on that one. What are the thoughts on good teachers versus good painters and how interlinked are they?
Oof.
Well, you're talking now about the accreditation of miniature painting, right? You're talking about this is a field where there is no accreditation. Um, there is no way to be accredited as a miniature painter. And if there's no way to be accredited as a miniature painter, then there's no way to be accredited as a miniature painting teacher. And as such, that's a pretty expansive space for.
If your question is, does someone being a good painter make them a good teacher? The answer is, of course, no.
Yeah, I don't think that's his question, though, because I think that's obvious in all things.
But if
Yeah, let's not go down that path, Timbo.
yeah, please, if you guys want to chop it up in the chat, go hard.
Yeah. We don't want to get Dino banned.
Yeah.
Religious talk doesn't get people banned, but being a shitlord does.
Oh, does
So
it?
Tim B's in
Right.
trouble.
Look,
Yeah.
I think they're just having some fun with each other. But
Let me throw some controversy at you. There is an absolute
I'm
concrete fact that a number of miniature painters that are out there teaching right now should not be teaching because they are not very good at it.
yeah, I don't think that's controversial at all.
No, well, it
That's a
is.
shock horror. But I guess I'll take the stands on the opposite side of that and say you only have to be one step ahead of the person that you're teaching.
Yep. So you don't have to be faster than everyone else. You just have to be faster than the guy who's right in front of the lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But I think there is an element of there's people that have jumped on this teaching bandwagon who probably should not have, because teaching someone anything is not easy, right? There is a specific process that you'll need to follow to be able to achieve any sort of results. And if you're not following that process, right, all you're doing is taking money from people. So there is no right answer, right?
Yeah.
There is no way to stop it, but I think we have
So I believe that
challenge.
teaching starts with a vested interest in the success of the student that you're teaching. And it's that simple, right? And if that isn't at the core of why you are teaching, then I don't know that the integrity is there. And that's a question that anyone who is going into teaching needs to ask themselves. Are you willing to teach people to be better than you? And when they are, let them claim their own success. That is what a great teacher does, right? In my opinion. And I'm happy to mix it up with anyone on that front. And as such, part of teaching in the miniature space is that it's also a business. And this is where the conversation comes. If the business side was extracted and people were supported in the interest and endeavour of teaching, would we have better teachers in the space?
But we go deep sometimes, don't we? This is too deep for me, mate.
That's very deep. It's like threefold deep or something.
Nah, that's a bad example, Jared. But
Well, the question,
you know
the
what I
question is
mean.
simply, the question simply is if there's no monetary incentive to teach, right? And it was based on you just passing on your knowledge. Let's say you could be accredited. So let's say the Australian government decides that, with the support of Australian art, that miniature painting can be acknowledged in schools of education. Okay? So now you have...
I'm just going to
government
quickly
paying
respond
people-
to Insantium very quickly.
please.
Yes, Brandon Sanderson, tremendous. Brent Weeks, very good. Joe Abercrombie, haven't read yet, but will do so soon. Highly recommend Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. Very, very good.
Nice.
Thank you. Proceed.
So we're now living in a world where, you can go to school and you can learn how to do this thing we all love, right? Which I think is the greatest acknowledgement of maybe bucks for PM, more art in schools. Yeah, absolutely, right? More art in schools and differing art in schools. If people can go, because this industry will get bigger, that's undeniable. It's not going to, we say miniature painting's been around for 40 years. That's not true. People have been, sculpting toy soldiers since the dawn of human existence, right? And putting paint on them probably didn't come far after that. What its necessity has changed over time from probably being a necessary for communication versus now an act of passion and creativity. But I'm not necessarily asking would all these teachers do it if there wasn't a paycheck. I'm saying if the paycheck was taken away from it, would we have better teachers? And the way that we take the paycheck away is by finding a way to accredit miniature painting in school.
I don't think the answer to that question is yes. I think if you were to look at politicians and say if every politician didn't get paid anything, we'd only have great politicians. That's a straight up false
get
argument.
Paid, mate. They obviously get paid.
Because
they get paid from our government by being teachers.
Yeah, people that move into that role generally have two motivations: the right motivation, or the wrong one, which is wanting to have power over other people and make themselves feel better about their lives. You can't control which people go into that. That's the issue. So I don't.
You can by accrediting them.
No, but you can't, because the same people will get into it, right?
Yeah, it's like any profession. Like I think it is. You got to legitimize it as a profession. So it's taken more seriously, and I think that's the thing. Like I remember during school, art, it was there, but it was never really pushed as a subject. They value English, mathematics, and other stuff.
Who actually did art in school? Did you do art in school, Bucks?
Mate, I didn't get far in school at all, and the art that I was interested in school wasn't considered to be art.
Graffiti art.
It wasn't miniature painting. It was other art.
Graffiti art.
Craig Zog. He's saying, I effectively wanted to do display painting in school for my folio, and my teacher just said flat out no. Yeah. Simasenko, is that the right way to
That's
say
Casey,
it?
mate. That's Casey.
Who is it?
Casey Hastings.
Oh, Casey! Hello, Casey. Casey's
Casey.
saying I work with some APRA accredited people who shouldn't be in health. Timbo, you did. Craig Zog, I did.
I did art in school as well.
Yeah, the accreditation is effectively word of mouth. Yeah, I mean, hi Bucks and Co. Yeah, cool. I went to school for graphic design, so I did. Yeah, so.
But I just don't think accreditation is the answer that you're looking for here, right?
For good teachers.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we can sit on different sides of that.
Well, at this point in time, what you're doing is you're minimizing a group of people that are wanting to give up their time to help everyone be better. Let's let that happen, I think. Right? Let's let those people do that. There will absolutely be in there a crop of teachers who will not be very good. Those teachers will dig their own grave as word of mouth spreads.
Yeah, but I mean, what I guess we look at what comes from accreditation, right? Like, people can have careers and futures in this space. Like, people, I mean, it can't be that we believe in accreditation for so many things in human existence, and yet.
All right. Well, let me challenge it. There is no governing body in miniature art. So what you're saying is we need to have a governing body, and that will never happen. So certainly not in our lifetime.
Maybe not in our lifetime, but one can hope. I hope that like the answer to the question, did anyone get to do miniature art in their art classes for their art, their art studies? I hope one day the answer is yes. I don't hope the answer is no. Yeah,
I am on the same page as you.
Yeah.
I would love to see miniature art considered as a real art form and whatever else, but I just think it's accreditation requires a bunch of people to agree about something.
I mean, look, a great industry we can look at, and I mean, I'm not an expert on this industry at all, but I don't think the tattoo industry has any accreditation either. I think it only has accreditation in naturally like the operating of business and health and safety.
Yeah.
But in the actual who actually gets to put stuff on your body.
Whatever you want. Cut sick.
Yeah, and again, it could probably do from some people having the support to sit and learn their craft for longer. I mean, because that's really kind of what we're talking about, right? Like being supported enough that you can learn your craft for long enough that then you can then comfortably go out and do it to a standard that is at least at a minimum for what the skill requires.
You do love going absolutely off tap sometimes.
Well, that might be why you keep me around.
We got a chat question, which is a good one. Inks.
Yeah.
Insantium inks can be used in many ways. One of the most common ways is to use as a glaze, a filter over the top of an area to add more saturation and colour. You can also mix them in with your paints to give you a more vibrant colour and water them down in the same way that you would with water. You can use inks through an airbrush, or you can use them in the same way that you would a wash, a contrast paint, which is to mix them in with a medium and then hit them over an area and allow them to create some shading for you. Many and varied uses, but I would probably suggest, rather than going straight to an ink, you try out some contrast or speed paints first, because they will probably get you a better understanding of how they work and how you can utilize them. They're sort of more ready-made than inks. That is all. Back to you, Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good for us to sort of move on if the chat wants to move on. I mean, we've been talking about a lot of deep stuff, and also let's not forget that this is fun and we're here to have fun.
Fun? No.
And miniature painting is fun. It's not always this deep stuff, but this deep stuff is fun to throw around. If anything, I hope it reflects the passion that we have for it.
Certainly reflects the passion you have, great man. There was one topic on there which you wanted to talk about, which I don't remember. But was it something to do with this?
Well, we've done it. We've kind of talked about influence. We've done art books. We've done paint. I think we didn't really need to go too deep on paint brands. I think we're all in agreement about that. I just always love to reinforce it because I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people get very caught up with making sure they have the right tools for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there is merit in that, but I also think eventually you can have all the right tools for the job, but if you're not doing the job, then you're not getting the result you want from the job. So, this is the answer that people love to hate, but if you want to get better at this, do it more. And the paint's not going to make you better. It's not going to make you incrementally better just because you own it.
I love that answer.
Drop a bottle versus paint pot, go. They both have negatives and positives. That simple. That whole drop a bottle's the best. Well, I've got 150 dropper bottles around me. I've got 100 pop tops. I've got squeezers. The ones with the caps that you pop up and then squeeze. Chimera style. Every single one of them dries up and doesn't come out all the time. And that is probably less on the paint brand and more on my ability to take care of them, because I just don't care about them that much. They're a tool to be used and abused. Do you guys have any differing take on that?
Nope. All of my paint pots dry out.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It is
a
part
real
and
perfect
parcel.
design for it.
Unfortunately.
Hey, here's another one. Hi, chaps. This is from Gunner. Love it. Hi, chaps. Enjoying the discourse this evening. I'm getting back into the hobby after a while out and had a quick question on how wet to keep your wet palette. Basically, I noticed yours was pretty soaked, Deno, with the visible water in the tray, as is a case of trying out different levels. The only I'll take this one while Trent finishes up his painting. There is not enough water, which is dry. There is too much water, which is it's over your paper, and anything in between is totally fine.
And that what determines too much and not enough is very much determined by your climate and by a variety of other things. So,
I was going to say, depends if you're in Australia or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our paints dry out very, very, very quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you're in Australia, you might not be here. You're using way more ruined brushes now to do texture. Yeah, I mean, just innovating, right? You're looking at what you've got and how you can best use it. I mean, look, that can lead into a topic today that Jared, Ben, Timbo, and myself had that went for 4 hours today, Jared? 5 hours?
Yeah, it was about that.
Which is the utilization of tools and how best to implement them. And this was in context of digital sculpting versus hand sculpting, or things that are made by the hand versus things that are made by the hand, just in a different way. I think what we learned about that conversation is it's probably deeper than all these conversations so far. Yeah. So we might not open that one up totally.
That's a rabbit warren you don't want to go down yet.
Yeah. Casey, that is very convenient of you. You definitely didn't have to change your name, but I appreciate it.
What are the thoughts on this piece, friends? I'll appreciate it's probably not ideal viewing conditions because my camera's not at the best of angles, but can I zoom out any further? No,
so kind of one thing I will say is that, like, something that I have taught myself over the years, and I would actually encourage as many people to embrace this as possible, never ever judge a sculpt by its 3D render or its photograph. It's a three-dimensional object being converted to 2 dimensions. They just always look slightly different, some more so than others. We have to remember that there are more axes in 3D, so, you know, when a sculptor is sculpting, they're not just thinking about how it's going to look. I think they're not just totally thinking about how it's going to just look from the one angle. So when I saw you pull this out in the hand, I was immediately, like, more drawn to this miniature from the Kickstarter. It was not one of the ones that I'd looked at too much, because there's quite a few. But yeah, this one itself, I'm liking more and more. It might be that some of its motifs are right on song with the stuff that I'm looking at right now, from art inspirations and game and miniature inspirations. So probably
good.
Some of that.
Yeah, absolutely love it. You know, can you put up the artwork?
Yeah.
Just like do a comparison.
I sure can. Here is
particularly
one I
like the way you've done the columns as well.
Did you get to pick the ones you chose, mate, or did you?
No,
I
did not.
And they came out.
So I did not. Here is another one that is more red.
Yeah, I love that palette. That's one, like, you know, that's a really nice palette.
So you can see the two, I guess, versions of the same art, which is just very much. However, they've been. So I swirled much more towards this orangey version than this sort of more, what's that, raw sienna kind of color palette. So I went very red, and then tried to just find my own vibe. So
yeah. Shock horror, it's, you know, yellows and reds, and I'm learning a lot about myself when it comes to those two colours. They seem to be colours that I've been gravitating towards quite heavily in the last little bit.
So I think this model really pushes your painting style as well.
For sure.
The way it's done.
Yeah. So this is the other one I got from the Kickstarter. I did not get to choose, Bucks. You asked that question. I don't know if that's because I'm not a celebrity enough, or if they chose something they thought would be interesting for me. But yeah, I was just happy to be involved, mate. You know, just happy to paint some cool models.
There you go. You got a specific question as well there from.
I'll let Dino answer that one first.
Mate, it was like
he did put it in that order, didn't he?
It was like painting myself.
Yeah.
I'm a big ugly monster, so.
What's your take on the Frankenstein sculpt, mate? I think they both sort of covered it in their last little bit.
Me or him?
Well, no. Like Ashton, you guys both talked about your take on the sculpt, right? Or am I just catching up to that question and you guys answered it at that point? Maybe I lagged a little bit there.
I don't remember answering that question, but Jared, did you like the sculpt?
When I first saw it, no. It didn't really jump out to me, but just seeing how you've painted it and the artwork, I think that sold it for me. This
one's, I think, probably one.
Oh no! Yeah, this question always comes up. What's the goop Trent's painting with? Oh, you just don't want to know. It's exactly what you think it is. It's Trent's secret sauce. You can see it all dried up there on the.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
PVA glue, mate.
Yeah, it just looks a bit suspect there, though.
It's just straight up and down PVA glue.
Yeah.
It works absolutely wonderfully. I use it for many, many, many gut filling exercises. It works far quicker and far more effectively than just about every other option I've seen for gut filling. People talk about sprue goo, whatever. Sprue goo's for chumps.
This is demo goo.
Sprue goo's for fucking chumps, right? It's all about the PVA glue.
And sprue goo wouldn't work on resin anyway, mate.
Nah, but let me just tell you right now, it's quicker than milliput. It can be cleaned up with water, and then once you've filled the whole fucking thing, you can just give it this little bobby dazzle with the hairdryer, and you're ready to fucking undercoat that bad boy in seconds. Seconds, I tell you. PVA glue, it's the gut filling for champions.
Yeah, it is an old school one, isn't it? Old PVA glue. You know what the other good thing about PVA glue is? If you're already painted and a gap then presents itself, that's your best friend.
Well, I actually just did when I glued that model to the base before.
Yeah,
I was filling the fucker with PVA all over, and I'll then paint that with a little bit of black, and that'll seal it up beautifully. You can see where his feet are right down here. PVA glue, and his hand PVA glue. Get it done. Works perfectly. Paints and then varnish it, and you're done. All right, so this is the base I've gone with for this. I'll put the guy on there.
You know, we should probably, like, if you're interested, Jordan, we should probably have you come and jump on and have a chat at some point.
Before we do that, can I meet the guy? I've never fucking spoken to the guy. I'd prefer not to just have some fucking random come on my stream. Is that alright, Andy? Before you start
I was actually going to say...
inviting people?
Going to stay after the guild's in.
Yeah, right. Okay,
because
cool.
I think his perspective from where he's come from in his journey will be quite interesting.
Any other randoms just want to come and join Bucks on his stream? Like he's just fucking dishing out invites now to anyone.
Hey, listen. I've never invited anyone, and I've been here for nearly 2.5 years now. So
what do you mean you've never invited anyone? Look at Jared. He's right here now. I'd never invite Medium Rig.
Mate, you invited Big Rig in here to replace me. And then you're gone off him because everyone calls him Big Rig now. And you're like, I've got to back out of this. I've got to get out of here.
Good times. Classic hits. 4KQ.
No, he does have I think he's got a super interesting perspective, and I've really enjoyed the conversations we've had so far. I think you'd enjoy them too, and I think he's got a bit to give. So, of course, only if he's interested. But
yeah, look at this guy.
Have you got the artwork as well?
Yeah, I do. Let me find it.
There you go, Trent. He's non-threatening. There you go. He's under 6, just pushing 6 foot.
Mate, you need to be fucking 7 foot before I'm concerned.
Ah.
Oh dear.
Alright, I gotta find it. Fuck me. Gerald Brom. There it is. It's called the Soul Warden. Oh, it's a fucking ripper too.
Wolves in 6. Let's go. Get you on Crackdog, yeah. Look, if Wolves get it done, like the actual stream is going to be a celebratory stream. It's going to be a full hijacking. Trent's going to be painting Wolves on stream. It's going to be great.
You'd still mess me up. On what fucking planet, mate? There's about 3 people in the miniature painting world that could beat me in a fight, and I don't think you're one of them. Juddo is though.
The one to look out for in the miniature painting world is Bear Cave. That's the one you want to look out for. He'll fold us all into tiny little pretzels.
So let's just do this little exercise. Here is the artwork that Matteo is doing. It's fantastic. I love it. Here is the actual artwork from Gerald Brom. He's done a magnificent job replicating it, hasn't he? A lot of reds.
Did Matteo do the... Yeah, Matteo did that one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that,
Yeah,
actually.
super nice.
I'm going to go completely different. I'm going to go blues. I'm going to go snow. I'm going to go a snow
Yeah.
version of this. Yeah, so I
we're
did
gonna
wonder.
we're going to get the classic blue and green Deno colours.
I think so. It should work pretty nicely. I like the horse. I think it'll look cool with some blues, and we'll get some snow on the rocks at the back there. Should be good.
All right, listen. We need to like get this energy down. I don't know what all of this everyone now suddenly wanting to punch on between small.
Well, it's
people
because
and
you're just
tall
inviting
people.
people onto the fucking stream whenever you want, mate.
Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. You know.
Do I need to get like a?
Hey, listen, mate. Everyone in this chat has literally just jumped on you, mate. They're all like, "I just want to fight Trent now." So
That's because you're
We need to
telling
get,
people
like, a
it's on,
boxing
mate.
Boxing ring for guilds in.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm in.
Put it out in front.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see what I can organise.
I'm gonna get on commentary.
Oh, you'll be first in the ring, mate.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
It's not what you want.
No.
I'm a broken down man these days. My legs aren't working properly. You know.
Lieutenant
Guild
Dan.
fighter guilds in.
Can you have a guild fight at guilds in? Absolutely, we can. I will scout Team Victoria for you. We'll have a good time.
Team
We'll have to
Victoria.
do it off the premises of,
Team Victoria
Peter
is absolute specials for dead last in that fight. I got to tell you.
You reckon?
Who is in there?
I reckon I put one guy in the ring and not a single person gets out.
He's not a member of the guild, mate. You can't just rock up with your fucking mate who's a kung fu fighter or whatever he is.
He's not a kung fu fighter. He's Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay, sorry, mate. But he's not in the guild. You can't just rock up
Yeah,
with your guy.
even knows Besh. He's like, nah, that's over. That's over. Bro, Bear's hands are the size of your head, Trent.
Yeah. I've never met this guy either. Do you want to invite him on the stream?
Yeah, absolutely. He's an absolute legend, and he's been coming to the stream for years.
Oh,
he watches
fuck
everything.
me.
Lovely man. Got all the time in the world for him. I should hope that me vouching for someone would be enough. But clearly, friends in the chat, I'm just not worth that much to Trent. My opinions just don't carry.
No, man, I'm very protective of my house. Very protective of something that I've built.
Your kingdom, yes.
And the last time we brought a random on here, if you recall...
No, the last time you brought a random on here, not we.
Yeah,
you.
no, that is definitely a you.
Me? I had nothing to do with that. I don't even know the guy.
Yeah, it went down very poorly. So I haven't invited very many people on since then. Only people that I know and trust. So
can we talk about this Melbourne collective thing? That is a great question. Half of Melbourne is trying to present potentially joining it as a guild, but the other half really quite likes, I think, the shit stirring. So banter is in no short supply in our wonderful scene, and I don't think it's going to get over just on that alone.
that's all right. We'll just kick you out of the guild scene. You guys can start your own collective scene, and then we'll see how long it lasts.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
Collective versus guild. Ooh,
Yeah.
fractures already.
Can you get it changed tonight? Can we get it changed right now? Is it doing bad things to you? Is it making you uncomfortable? I think it's making a few people uncomfortable who maybe like things in a certain. We
does.
still have DC. Look, one thing we're not doing is putting DC in a fight. Okay, we've got to protect his hands at all costs. Maybe what we should do is commission an artist for fun to make a piece of art with all the guilds punching on with each other and put that somewhere. That'd be fun. It's very Melbourne. The funny thing is, it was never intended, like, there was no intention to make them all guilds, I don't think. I think, because Melbourne was the third one to come along, so at that point there was only 2 guilds, and then really the fate of this was shaped by Adelaide, Brisbane and Perth, all just going, let's be guilds as well.
Yep.
Oh dear, oh dear.
We use Dave as a human shield, relying on people's goodwill not to want to hurt DC.
I'll bash him.
I wouldn't put it past Trent to take it.
I'll bash him. Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
We should do the Anchorman fight and just put the guild's names over the
Where
various
else?
people.
where else do you get a passionate and intense stream talking about the education of miniature painting that devolves into everyone just punching on with each other? Is there a more Australian scene? Is there a more Australian scene out there?
Oh, it's good times. All right, friends, I'm going to take off. It's been a lovely 2 hours and 10 minutes with you both. Well, you guys joined about an hour and a half ago, but it was wonderful.
It's always a pleasure.
The next few weeks, what have we got? We've got nothing. Guild's Inn's quite a way away, isn't it? It's about 10 weeks away. So yeah.
Still 2 months.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, I'll be painting this probably during the week. I may start it and hopefully finish it on Sunday, and then the new diorama models arrive. So
oh really? It's time.
It's happening. Should be this week. Get amongst it.
Punch on gang. That is it. We actually, from now on, we'll be solving all best in show discussions with both a judge punch on to get the. We will take 6 entrants
to determine who the strongest judge is.
The judges will punch on to determine that, and then after that, the 6 BIS contenders will all punch on for the title. We have now become gladiators.
And on that note, we'll depart. Thanks for a great stream, friends.
No worries.
See you, Bucks. See you, Jared. Big Deno out.
See ya.